Patek Philippe Cubitus came out just last year, and for a watch that was such a departure from their usual styling, there are a surprisingly small amount of Homage watches that copy this watch. This is one that I found. This is the Chenxi 8266, and it's quite a good representation of what the original is. So, without further ado, let's have a look at this thing. Good day to you all, and welcome back to another BBW review. So this is the Chenxi CX8266 homage to the Patek Philippe Cubitus. As mentioned, it's one of the only ones that I've seen online, and I wanted to see how they can represent the Patek for $8. And what I found is quite a surprise. Let's go over the basic specs of this. You have a 42mm, that's across the ears of the Patek. It does match the exact dimensions of the Patek. Now, without the ears, it's a 40mm square. With the ears, it's about 42mm, and which does again match the original. The lug width it's an integrated bracelet, as you can see, 26mm, where the leather joins the alloy case, and tapering down to 22mm. The width is a very slim 10mm girth there, with a 5mm crown. They're the basic specifications and dimensions. What you have for $8, or it's about $8.50, $9, is a very good representation of the original. The case itself is going to be obviously a plated alloy. The case itself, it does look very good. I'm glad it's not going to be a blingy chrome here. It has kind of sand-blasted or beat-blasted effect around the front of the flat bezel and the rest of the case, with a polished, just as you can see around here. The rest is going to be has a beat-blasted or sand-blasted effect, but obviously that's not real. It's going to be part of the electroplating process that gives it that nice effect, that dull effect, which I'm glad, again, it hasn't got a blingy chrome all over, only around here, which is nicely polished. The crystal itself is called a hardened mineral crystal, which means it's just a mineral crystal. It's slightly, ever so slightly raised above the bezel, as you can see there. It's not perfectly flush, but I'm not sure if the original is perfectly flush either. The contours, I really like the contours of this. Now, about the ears again, now that's going to give you a 40mm there. That's going to be 42. I'm not sure, I'm 50-50 between, I do like the ears because it does copy the original Patek. It does give it some character. And in profile, it does look nice. It gives this two-step look. So you have the base there, and from the bezel upwards, you have two different levels there. But it also looks good, or would have looked good, without the ears, and you have a perfect square. Let me compare something which is similar, but not a Cubitus, which I reviewed earlier, which is this current one. Now you can see the current is going to be smaller, although longer, whereas the Cubitus is a perfect square. The current is longer than it is wide. The faces itself, the Cubitus has quite a larger dial face than the current, but I think this is Current's attempt at the Cubitus, but obviously it's not a cube. So jumping back to the Chenxi, the dial is what really did it for me. So there are a number of different colorways, but it's this dial here. This the video doesn't really do it justice. It's on the wrist and in the reel, it's more of a champagne color, but this here looks like a champagne olive, if you can get such a thing. But it's what attracted me most to this watch, and it's a beautiful hue and gives it a good sunburst. Now I'm in the sunny city of Bangkok, and today in the sunlight it does look really good on the wrist. Again, the video doesn't really do it justice, and it looks absolutely wonderful out in the sunlight. The planking or the striping follows the original cubitus. Patek always do it horizontally, whereas the current here, as you can see, hopefully, has vertical stripes, and they're not so clear, whereas the Patek or the Chenxi Homage here, again, you can see quite definite striation there. The profiles, they are, let me zoom in if I can there. The profiles are very well done. They are, let's see, stop this wobbling. They're individuals, battens all around, apart from the 12 o'clock, which is a double batten. And even the individual battens, they're very well done. They have a groove down the centre, as you can see, hopefully. So quite a lot of attention has been made on this dial here. It is a really nice dial. I'm looking for any differences in the lineup here, where it does meet those stripes. And actually it looks okay. Everything seems to line up really well. You have painted minute markers all around, little dots all around within those profiles. And you have a very small date window at the 3 o'clock, which is going to be, let's test this. When does that date turn? Now let's move these hands out first. So 10 o'clock, by about 10:30 it's already changing. 11 o'clock, and about quarter to 12 is when it clicks over to the new day. So about a 15-minute window there, that's not too bad. While the hands are engaged, I want to check that 12 o'clock, or that minute hand jump. So positioning the minute hand over the 12 and engage. Almost nothing there. Again, I'll try it again. The minute hand positioned over the 12 and engage. Not much at all there, and that's mainly my movement on the crown there. Although there isn't much resistance, as you can see, with those hands. I'd prefer a lot more resistance there. A bit floppy, but does the job okay. The hands themselves, they look loomed, but they're not. It's just painted. They're standard post hands with a straight stick second hand, which does, I think, meet all the markers on, almost there. So the second hand does meet most of the markers there. The dial itself, again, it's this champagne dial. You can get the dial in, I think, about 4 different colours. I chose the this dial because I thought it just looked the nicest. But once you're out in the sun, I have found that it's not exactly the most legible, but that's a compromise I'm willing to take because it's such a beautiful looking dial, and that sunburst is really nice. It's the first champagne dial or olive champagne dial that I have, and I'm really happy with it. So onto the back. There is a nicely styled case there, and that faux or fake sunblast or beat blasted case does give a nice touch. And again, I was really surprised what you can get for $8.59. It is a nice watch. It's about 70 grams with a supplied leather strap. I'll come to the strap in a minute, but onto the back first. Let's remove that plastic. So the details are stainless steel back cover, meaning the rest is going to be a chrome plated alloy. Water resistant, basically 30 meters, splash resistant. And the designation, the CX, where am I? The CX8266. Not much else to do there. It's a standard pull-off press-down stainless steel cover. Haven't popped this up, so I haven't looked at the battery. The battery's going to be standard Chinese movement, clearly. This is my first Chenxi watch, and looking at their website, they do have a lot of nice offerings. And surprisingly, what you get for the money is really good. So this may be one of my new brands that I'll be getting more watches of. So the strap, as you can see, it's integrated, as is the original. You have, I haven't actually removed the strap, although I think it would look really nice with a stainless steel strap, but I'll keep it on the leather for the moment. It is a nice strap. It wears in really well and is quite supple now. It's a really good strap for the price and integrated. So if you are thinking of changing it, that might be a problem, finding a strap that actually does fit this. You may end up having to do a bit of DIY and buy a normal strap and cut out the groove there for that end link. And that end link does not move, although once you'll see on the wrist, it does angle down quite a lot, so it gives a nice wrist presence there. That dial is really nice. But again, it doesn't do it justice on this camera. You really need to see it on the wrist and outside. So let's have a look at this thing on the wrist, and we'll have a look also at the strap. So before I come to the wrist shot, let's have a look at this strap. Now, as you can see, it is integrated, and it would look really nice on a stainless steel strap. But looking at these where the strap joins with the case itself, there were no screws to release those pins there, and it's certainly not a standard spring release strap, so I'm not sure how they would release that. But if it does copy the exact dimensions of the Patek, I'm sure there will be a stainless steel strap to accommodate this, and I hope so. I think that would look so nice on a stainless steel bracelet there. The strap itself is leather. Excuse my handiwork there. As in most of these leather straps, they don't fit me. I'm always having to put an extra hole in it, and I usually make a mess of it. And as you can see, it's not centered, so the tang is going to pull to one side. It's quite a long strap. It's about 26 centimeters from end to end, but it's just they've never put enough holes in for my 6.5-inch wrist. A very supple strap. It didn't take long to break that in at all. And the buckle and tang, I'm happy that they haven't just put a bog standard buckle there. It is a nicely contoured buckle, which again matches with the original Patek. And it is signed. I'm not sure if you can see that there. I'll zoom in a bit. As you can see, it is signed with the Chenxi, and the tang does actually meet in the middle where it's supposed to, in that groove. But once it's on the wrist, because I made that off-center adjustment there, the tang does not fit the groove there. But that's not the watch's fault, that's my fault for my bad alignment there. So let's have a look at this now on the wrist. So before I come to the wrist shot, let's have a look at this strap. Now, as you can see, it is integrated, and it would look really nice on a stainless steel strap. But looking at these where the strap joins with the case itself, there were no screws to release those pins there, and it's certainly not a standard spring release strap, so I'm not sure how they would release that. But if it does copy the exact dimensions of the Patek, I'm sure there will be a stainless steel strap to accommodate this, and I hope so. I think that would look so nice on a stainless steel bracelet there. The strap itself is leather. Excuse my handiwork there. As in most of these leather straps, they don't fit me. I'm always having to put an extra hole in it, and I'm usually make a mess of it. And as you can see, it's not centered, so the tang is going to pull to one side. It's quite a long strap. It's about 26 centimeters from end to end, but it's just they never put enough holes in for my 6.5-inch wrist. A very supple strap. It didn't take long to break that in at all. And the buckle and tang, I'm happy that they haven't just put a bog standard buckle there. It is a nicely contoured buckle, which again matches with the original Patek. And it is signed. I'm not sure if you can see that there. I'll zoom in a bit. As you can see, it is signed with the Chenxi, and the tang does actually meet in the middle where it's supposed to, in that groove. But once it's on the wrist, because I made that off-center adjustment there, the tang does not fit the groove there. But that's not the watch's fault, that's my fault for my bad alignment there. So let's have a look at this now on the wrist. And there she blows. Now, it is a, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, it is a 48 millimeters from lug to lug. It's very flat. Again, it's 10 millimeters girth or depth there, so it does hug the wrist quite well. But this is one comment I would make. If it was about 38 millimeters, that would be a sweet spot there. It's a little bit too big for what it is, I think, but again, it does copy the original Patek. It's not too bad. It does fall flush with the wrist, but I would just prefer it a little bit smaller. But again, it doesn't deviate from the original. Now, as you can see, because of my bad alignment, the tang doesn't slip into that groove there. But again, that's not the watch's fault, that is my bad craftsmanship there. You get two keepers, one fixed, one floating. I may, if I don't find a stainless steel integrated strap, I may remove this strap or this section of the strap and put a butterfly deployment clasp on it. I don't like to have anything hanging over like that. I don't like that at all. I much prefer something very sleek and nothing poking out. Zoom out again. Again, that it doesn't do it justice. It is a beautiful sunburst, champagne sunburst, but on video you don't really catch that, especially not in the bright sunlight of Bangkok. Now, many people say that I shouldn't review these budget watches because they're garbage and such blah blah blah, but there are some exceptions, and this is certainly one. For $8.50 or $9, this does a really good job of representing a watch that is excellent value for money. I can't say more enough about this watch. I'm really, really happy with it. A few niggles with the size, but all my complaints can be avoided by saying they do copy the original. So if I don't like, the things I don't like about this will be the same things I would not like about the original Patek. So there you go. The Chenxi 826. So there you have it, the Chenxi Cubitus, or the Chenxi 8266. It's not a great watch, but for about $8.50, $9, it is a great budget watch and one that I would completely recommend. But make sure you get the colour that suits you most. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again with another watch on the green chair. Until then, as always, take it easy.